Good evening, everyone. I wanted to go ahead and create a part 2 to my first video about a certain person returning into power. When this whole coronavirus thing took place, I initially um, put out a video saying that the Lord was on his way back, and so was um, the anti. I don't want to say certain words because there are certain words that are um, keywords that are um, you know sensitive words that are easily picked up. And so anyway, at this time, I suggest that you all watch that video, and I'm going to just pull a few references from Daniel 7 and Revelation 17. Um, so I'll do that quickly. I always say quickly, and then my videos are still long. But okay, so I'll share my screen with you at this time. This is Daniel 7, and I'll start reading from verses 7, the first verse to the 8th verse, and then I'll skip down towards the end. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matter. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night and beheld the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea, and four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted from the earth, and made to stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second like a bear, it it raised up itself on one side, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it, and they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it four wings of a fowl. And the beast had also four heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night visions, and beheld the fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue of its feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. And I considered the horns, and beheld there came up amongst them another little horn, before whom there were three of the horns, the first horns plucked up by the roots, and behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. And so in my first video, I kind of showed you all different scenarios of the beast speaking blasphemy and great things against the Most High. But I'm going to go down to um, verse 17, where the angel gives revelation to Daniel, and he says, These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even for for ever and ever. Then I will know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, break in pieces, and stamp the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very, very great things, those, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. Okay, so until the Ancient of Days, I was going to skip this, but I'll keep reading. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And that time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms. It shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it to pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise from them. He shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High. He shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given until his hand until a times, and dividing of time, or 3.5 years, or 1260 days, a time and a half a time. Okay, so I just want to, because I like I said before, I suggest you look at the first video to get the full understanding. But I want to share with you all what I have that kind of backs it. So, all right. So right now I'm sharing where I actually Googled President Eisenhower. President Eisenhower, and the name of the meaning of his name. And President Eisenhower names means iron hewer. Iron hewer. Okay, that's very important. So I'm going to start sharing that. And we're going to, now I went on dictionary.com, and we're going to see what does iron hewer mean. Okay. All right. So to hew, um, to strike forcibly with an axe, a sword, or other cutting instrument, to chop or to hack. It's a verb, and it's the act of hewing. So President Eisenhower name means iron and hew, which is like an iron chop or hacking. And the verb also can be used, it just says to strike with cutting blows. To strike with cutting blows, but remember, it's striking with iron. So the iron teeth that is represented, let's go back to Daniel 7, and I'm going to highlight or emphasize the verse that talked about that fourth kingdom. Let's see. Okay, here it is. Verse 19. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast. So who is the fourth beast? Which was diverse from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of iron and his nails of brass, which devoured and brake into pieces and stamped the residue with his feet. So remember, um, what we just looked up with President Eisenhower meant to chop or to break, of like chopping with iron, right? So so this beast had this fourth kingdom. It was diverse from all the other kingdoms, and it had 10 kings. Here it is, verse 24. 10 kings, and out of this kingdom, those 10 kings had 10 horns. The last king, which is the 10th king, had a horn that was that came up, but he was different from the other horn. All right, so now I just pulled up, just Google a list of the presidents of the United States, right? Here we go. So America became great after the fall of Germany. Before Germany, before World War II, Germany was the world superpower. We became, I'm gonna take right here, this president right here, President Dwight Eisenhower, we became the greatest superpower under his reign. All right. Eisenhower was, which name pretty much means iron teeth, is when America became great. We became that world dominating power, and we started to take over different countries, or not necessarily take over different countries, but yeah, we had troops in other countries, but we just became that world power um, under Eisenhower. He was the 34th president. Okay, so the scripture in Daniel tells us the 10th king from him that was different from all the other kings. And excuse this writing because I'm writing with my mouth. Okay. Okay. So America became great under President Dwight Eisenhower, which was the 34th president. If we go 10 kings from him, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is our, oops, this is our 10th horn that is diverse and different from the rest of the horns before him. All right. So that's just Daniel 7. Now I'm going to go to Revelation 17. All right. I'll just start reading because I don't even know where to start here. Um, And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore did thou marvel? I will tell thee I will tell thee the mystery of the woman of and of the beast that carried her, which has 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou saw was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go forth into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. Then they, when they beheld the beast that was and is not and yet is. And here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth, and there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, one is, the other is not yet come, and when he comes, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth, and is of the seventh, and goes into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Okay, so and then he says unto him in verse 15 that the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sits, are people, multitudes, nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For God has put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the works of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou saw is the great city which reigns over the kings of the earth. So it's a lot of confirmation. Like if you just look for it, it's a lot of evidence that proves who the great whore is, who Mystery Babylon is. You know, is it Rome? Is it, is it Europe? Is it this place? Is it that place? Is it Israel? No, it is um the one the one city or the one nation that influences peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues, and um, throughout the world, and basically perverts the world because everything starts here. Um, so I wanted to just go here where I want to talk about the 7 heads. All right. So verse 10 says, no, I'll read verse 9 and 10. And here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. Okay, so when I looked up mountains, it literally means it can be literally or figuratively, but it says if you look up mountains in Hebrew, it just means to rise up. So it does, so basically like the 7 heads are the 7 mountains on, or the 7 platforms which this um woman has is sitting on, and that has risen her up or exalted her. So it don't mean that she's literally sitting on 7 mountains. Um, there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and one is, and the other is not yet come. And when he comes, he must come for a short space. Emphasis right there, a short space. Okay. So I'm gonna stop sharing right now while I pull up. I'm gonna go back to my list of the presidents. Okay. All right. So we're gonna start. It said 7 presidents. So we are going to start at Donald Trump, and we're gonna go back 7, which should take us to Jimmy Carter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Okay. So that scripture said that there were 7 kings. It said 5 had fallen before. So we're going to start counting at Jimmy Carter and count Jimmy Carter out. That's 1. Reagan is 2. Bush Sr. is 3. Clinton is 4. Bush Jr. is 5, or the Bush the second. This is the 6. All right. And this is number 7. And that scripture told us that sixth king is going to come back as number 8, and that the 7th king is going to go for a short span, a short time. Y'all forgive this writing. For a short time. Okay? So that's why I have not said anything, because what I don't want to do, what we cannot do is, a lot of people have been prophesying or prophesying that the Lord said Trump was going to get 2 terms. I know that in 2016, the Lord told me that Trump would get this term. I never heard anything about a second term, but so that's why I've just been sitting back to see what is going to happen. I believe that possibly, I don't even want to get into all that. If you look back, you will see they've been predicting for months that the election would be drawn out and that Trump would not concede. And then it's going to be a big show put on about he won't leave the White House. They've been saying, is he going to go peacefully and stuff like that? So I believe this is just a tool for division between the left and the right to get more protesting going and stuff like that, to go ahead and bring in the UN troops. So, but I've shown you how we started at Jimmy Carter. Why? Why did we start at Jimmy Carter? Why did the Lord start at Jimmy Carter? I'll tell you why. The Lord started at Jimmy Carter because of the Camp David Accord. Okay? So remember I said that in one of my previous videos that May 14th, 1948, Israel became a nation again. The Lord said, learn the parable of the fig tree in Matthew 24. He said that will be a sign of my coming when Israel is restored as a nation again. So what happened, or why did the Lord start judging at Jimmy Carter? Because of this. Jimmy Carter, because of the, I'll just go down here and read it basically. But the Camp David Accords was established, and it was supposed to be, peace in the Middle East. But basically, Egypt and Israel had been engaged in various military and diplomatic conflicts since the establishment of Israel in 1948. The tensions had been particularly high after the Six-Day War of 1967 and the Yom Kippur War of 1973. So, Jimmy Carter brings these two leaders over to the White House, and they all work on a plan, and it seemed like they would not agree. They would not agree, and finally they came to an agreement. And in that agreement, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second while I find my next picture. Here we go. In that agreement, Jimmy Carter got the president of Israel to give the West Bank or to the Palestinians. So he divided the land that was Israel's newly developed land that had just been re-given to God's people. Jimmy Carter gave Palestine the Gaza Strip here in I'm gonna circle it. He gave them the Gaza Strip here in yellow, and then he divided Israel and gave this to the Palestinians. And as a agreement, Israel had to get all of their people and all of their troops out of this land and give it to the Palestinians. So that's why God started counting at Jimmy Carter. Okay, because we wanted to be God and we wanted to divide his land that he had recently just restored back to the people. And that was called the David Accords. And remember, I posted something that President Trump recently did called the Abraham Accords, where he brought in the heads of Israel and the heads of Arabic nations and Muslim nations, and they said that Islam, Christianity, and Judaism are one under the Abraham Accord, and that was signed at the White House. All right. So we also want to, we talk about Black Lives Matter a lot and stuff like that, and we get caught up in that type of division when, okay, I think I'm gonna say around 13 people, not that their lives did not matter, but simple lives matter, because that's what's gonna determine where you spend an eternity. This is as of today, this year, around the world, this is Worldometer. As of today, around the world, 37,294 people have had abortions, aborting innocent babies. The Lord said he is going to destroy this world because of all the innocent bloodshed, but all of the sins and abominations and innocent bloodshed. And it says here, according to the World Health Organization, every year in the world, there's an estimated 40 to 50 million abortions. This corresponds to approximately 125,000 abortions per day. Okay? So that's why the Lord said that he is going to judge and destroy this world and this nation because of the bloodshed um, and sacrificing to Moab. What we don't realize is like back in biblical days when people had abortions or sacrificed children to ancient deities, it's still being done through abortion. Like you can, whatever your excuse might be, like money, I just don't have the finances or whatever. So you basically sacrifice your child for money, indirectly. You did not take the sword and do it yourself, but that child was sacrificed for your own pleasure or your own benefit or financial gain. That's just the way that the Lord looks at it, no matter how we try to justify it. This is my last one here. In Daniel 7, the four beasts, when the angel had given him the interpretation, the head of gold was the Babylonian kingdom. The chest of silver was Mede and Persia. And see, this was the lion here, the bear. The thighs of bronze was Greece, which was the leopard. And then the legs of iron with the feet, which was iron and clay, foreshadowed the Antichrist 10-nation kingdom. So the beast with the 10 horns, which was the Antichrist empire, the feet mixed with clay is the what they plan to do. If you read Agenda 2021 and Agenda 2030, they plan on making us like transhumans. They want the world to be able to connect with the internet. So if you have a smart home, you can be outside of your home and think about turning off your alarm or things like that. You will be kind of one with technology. And so that was the iron and clay, which iron and clay does not mix. So that is that fourth kingdom that is unlike any other kingdom, because that's the time that the transhumans that they're trying to make a transhuman kingdom. I'm actually trying to sit closer to the computer to make sure that my video is heard good, but I have a lot more, but I'm gonna go ahead and end it right now. And I pray that you all be blessed and enjoy the rest of your night. Talk to you soon.